Hello YouTubers, I hope you're good and well. I'm doing a book review today for The Stepford Wives by Era Levin. This book was published in the early 1970s and it's a very famous book. You've probably heard the name before. Even if you're not a reader, you're aware of the name Stepford Wives. It could be described as feminist horror, this one, which is quite an unusual genre, quite a rare genre. It tells a tale of an urban family who moves to the suburbs. They move to like a small suburban town called Stepford, and before long they notice that everything seems quite patriarchal, and all of the women who live in this town are very obedient, and they only seem to be interested in doing housework all day. That's the basic premise. I just want to warn you, this video will have spoilers, so if you plan on reading the book and you don't want the ending ruined, switch off. There's going to be spoilers. Okay, so the main protagonist is a woman called Joanna. She's the wife of the family. She's like, she's a family woman. She has a husband, but she's quite independent and she's into photography. You could describe her as a feminist. She notices that there's a certain club in Stepford, and this club is only open for men. She thinks that's wrong, and she thinks that her and her husband should try and change it, basically. And so her husband joins this club with the intention of kind of changing the rules from within. They think that if the husband joins the club, he can kind of get to know the other men there and then persuade them to allow women to join. It's like an influential club in the village or the town. As I say, she lives in this town for a few months, and all the women are like, they never want to come round for coffee. They're always too busy waxing the floor or washing the dishes and stuff. But after a few weeks, she makes two women friends in the town. One of them is unlike the other Stepford wives because she's independent and she has a hobby. She likes playing tennis. And the other one is also like that. She's more independent and she's not a Stepford wife, basically. So she makes these two friends. However, after about 2 or 3 months, or 4 months to be precise, first the tennis player, she announces that she's going to spend like a bit of time with her husband. They're going to have a night together, and then after that she completely morphs into a Stepford wife. She gives up tennis and she just wants to wax the floor all day. And then her other friend announces that she's going to go to a hotel with her husband or something. And then immediately after that, she turns into a Stepford wife and she no longer wants to go out and socialise. She just wants to stay indoors and wash the dishes, right? That's the basic storyline, and it's hinted that there's a 4-month period. If a woman lives in Stepford for 4 months, at some point her husband will invite her out somewhere and then she will get changed into a Stepford wife. Now here's the spoiler, I'm just going to come out and say it. There's actually a robot element in this book. This surprised me, I had no idea about this, but the main protagonist suspects that these men are actually killing their wives and replacing them with robots, that like droid robots that look like women, and they're completely subservient and they're programmed to just do the dishes and obey the husband. So it's like a science fiction story, really, which surprised me. I didn't know that. Look, it's a very easy read. It's a very quick read. It's about 100 pages. It's a very short book and it's quite reader friendly, if you know what I mean. It didn't scare me though. For a horror story, it just didn't scare me. There's a very creepy undertone to it, of course. You know, like this town where women disappear or change, and the men are suspected of like killing their wives. Of course, that's creepy, but you know, it didn't give me nightmares or anything like that. So it wasn't that shocking or scary. And I noticed that the main layout of the story very strongly resembled Rosemary's Baby, which is another book by Era 11. I say that critically, really, because it shows that two of his books have the same kind of layout and storyline, which is, yeah, you might think that's a good thing. I don't really. By the way, Rosemary's Baby is a brilliant book. If you haven't read that, I strongly recommend reading that and watch the film. Rosemary's Baby is good. But what I'm saying here is in both Rosemary's Baby and The Stepford Wives, you've both got a female protagonist who is surrounded by people who may or may not be crazy, and in both books the woman goes to see a psychiatrist as well, and you're wondering whether the psychiatrist is in on the ploy or the plot or not. So they're very similar books. Right, this book, if you ask some people, they would tell you that The Stepford Wives is a critique of the patriarchy. But if you ask other people, they would claim that The Stepford Wives is a critique of feminism. The copy of this book that I've just finished reading has an introduction by Chuck Palahniuk, the author of Fight Club. And in his introduction to the book, he suggests that this book is, it's like a warning. He says it's a warning of what will happen, or what... This was written in the 1970s, remember, when feminism was kicking off. So he seems to think that it was like a warning to women, saying, look, if you go full on with feminism, men are going to react somehow, and this is what might happen. So depending on who you ask and who you speak to, this book is either a critique of feminism or patriarchy. So I'll leave it up to you to decide. What do I think? Just reading it could be interpreted either way, I think. If somebody told me it's a critique of feminism, I could totally see it. I can totally see how it's a critique of patriarchy as well. So maybe you can decide when you give it a read. Thank you for making it to the halfway point of this video. This is a quick message to let you know that my short story collection, A Bunch of Fives, will be released on the 1st of June. The book contains 5 short stories, each one designed to deliver a horrific psychological blow. You can pre-order A Bunch of Fives right now for a discounted price using the links below, if you're brave enough. Thank you. Now back to the video. For the last part of this video, I just want to give you my thoughts on this feminism patriarchy thing, or Stepford Wives thing. Do a lot of men want a Stepford wife? Sure, of course. I mean, if you went up to most men and said, A, do you want your wife to be very attractive with nice hair and nice nails? Do you want her to wear nice clothes every day? Or do you want her to be unattractive and walk around in an old rugby top? Of course, most men are going to say they want an attractive wife. Understandable. B, if you ask most men whether they want a wife who enjoys keeping a house tidy, or whether they want a woman who hates doing any kind of housework and they're never going to do anything, of course, people are going to choose the former. Most men are going to choose the former. Be silly not to. But here's the thing. Women do the same thing. Men want Stepford wives, but women also want Stepford husbands, or the equivalent. If you went up to most women and said, look, do you want a husband who shaves every day, gets a haircut every 2 weeks, washes and wears nice clothes, or do you want a husband who doesn't bother shaving or getting a haircut, and he doesn't wash and he sits around watching TV in a sweaty old t-shirt every day? Of course, most women are going to say, I want a clean, handsome husband. B, if you went up to most women and said, do you want a husband who's highly motivated and who wants to go out and work and earn money? Or do you want a husband who just sits at home watching TV and doesn't want to earn any money or provide for you in any way? Of course, most women are going to choose the motivated man who wants to go out and earn money. So my main point here is, you know, men and women do this. Men want a kind of Stepford wife, and women want the equivalent, right? So it's not just about men, it's not just about women. Just thought I'd add that. Also, interestingly enough, this book is about sex robots, basically. And it's actually become a reality. You can buy sex robots these days. I wonder what Era Levin would have thought of that. He died in 2007. I'm not sure whether sex robots were around in 2007. Maybe in Japan. That's where they mainly are, I think, in Japan, Tokyo. But it's become a reality. You can buy a sex robot. They're mostly for men. Do women use sex robots? A vibrator. You could describe a vibrator as a sex robot for a woman. Anyway, I think I've said enough. I hope you enjoyed this book review. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another book review. In the meantime, try to have a good day on this robotic, sexual, controversial rock we call Earth. Goodbye.